Hi, we work with mineral rights in the land department.
Oil and gas companies have to have mineral rights in order to explore for and produce oil and gas. In the U.S., a document called a lease is the primary way that oil and gas companies acquire those rights.
With a lease, the oil and gas company pays the mineral owner an upfront signing bonus, plus a percentage of the value of any oil and gas that is produced, called a royalty.
The land department deals with leases and other rights and agreements needed to conduct operations. We also keep ownership records to make sure that everyone is paid the right amount if oil and gas is produced.
We serve a key role in the land department, and we're called landmen.
And as you can see, that term is used for both men and women.
When the exploration department is interested in exploring in an area where they don't have mineral rights, they'll use a landman to find out who owns the minerals and to determine whether they've already been leased to someone else.
You might think it would be easy because we could just go knock on the door of whoever lives on the property. However, it's possible to separate mineral ownership from surface ownership, and that's been done with a lot of property. So the person living on the property may not have mineral ownership.
And may not even know who does. Plus, there are often multiple mineral rights owners on a property that have to be tracked down.
We usually can find out quite a bit just by looking at databases available online. However, if we get serious about a property, a landman will make a trip to the county courthouse and look at the actual land records. We'll trace the chain of ownership back as far as it goes, make copies of key documents, and keep notes on a form called a run sheet. An attorney will examine the run sheet later if things progress.
If the property is not already leased, we may be asked to contact the mineral rights owners to try to obtain a lease. Sometimes courthouse records haven't been updated to reflect changes in ownership, so it can be difficult just to find out who they are and how to contact them.
Once we find them, it takes some good people skills to get a lease signed. Some mineral rights owners are happy to sign a lease, and others are a challenge. People occasionally have unreasonable expectations, or they either have or claim to have a competing offer and try to bid us up.
We need leases, but we can't make money with bad leases. We do the best we can, but things don't always work out.
If another company already has a lot of leases in an area that we like, we might be able to buy leases from them, or perhaps even buy their company. Sometimes lease brokers or small companies acquire lease positions hoping that someone will buy them out.
Before drilling begins, there are other things besides leases that have to be coordinated. For example, if we obtain a lease from a mineral owner that doesn't also own the surface, then we need to notify the surface owner before we drill a well.
We let them know that we'll pay for damages in certain types of land use, but we sometimes sign a surface use agreement with them to avoid future conflicts and misunderstandings.
If there are damages, we work with them to make a fair assessment of how much should be paid.
We may also have to help arrange easements across other properties for rig moves or pipelines, or we might have to contract with the surface owner or another nearby property owner for water, gravel, or other materials for use in operations.
Before we drill on a property, our attorneys will review our run sheets and other documents to make sure the mineral owner does in fact own what we think they own.
We'd have a problem if we drilled a well and then found out that someone else was the true owner.
The attorney prepares a document called a title opinion that identifies any weakness in the chain of ownership and then has us do work to cure problems to the extent reasonably possible. That's called curative work and may involve anything from tracking down missing documents to getting someone to sign a statement.
I'm a lease and title analyst. There can be a long list of documents involved in oil and gas operations. You've already heard about leases, surface use agreements, easements, title opinions, and curative documents. But there can also be additional documents such as pooling agreements, unitization agreements, joint operating agreements, right-of-way agreements, and more. My job is to keep track of those documents and make sure we get everything we need. I scan these documents and put them in a database so that others can access them as needed, while protecting the originals. I also maintain a calendar of payments due, and I issue checks. I also monitor other requirements that have to be met and expirations so that nothing falls through the cracks.
I'm a division order analyst. A division order lists everyone that has an interest in a well or a lease, what type of interest they have, and their percentage interest. I use title information and curative documents to set up division orders, and then we get an attorney title opinion to verify correctness. When the title opinion is complete, I send division order information to all interest owners, and they have to sign to verify that we got their interest correct. I keep the division order information in a central database, and it's used by other departments. For example, the production accounting department will use it to determine how much production belongs to our company. The revenue accounting department will use it to determine how much we need to pay royalty owners and where the payment should be sent. And the joint interest accounting department will use it to charge partners for their share of costs. Reservoir engineers also use that information to determine our share of total reserves in a field for reserve reporting. It's critical that we get the information right because payment mistakes can be difficult to correct. Well, it's been great sharing what we do, and we hope you learned something useful. If you work in the oil and gas industry, you should take a course from Energy Training Resources. Their one-day course will show you how your role fits into the industry and will provide information that will help you interact better with other functions. Longer courses are also available that cover broader areas and go into more detail. So long.